natural driver, I'll see something half happening, and I'll think to myself, I'll preempt the half happening event. I'll be like, no, let that half happen before I do anything, and it happens to mess anything up. So we go to the half happening event. My mind don't work unless my mind don't jerk. Work unless my spine don't jerk. You've been sucking on Nelly's pinches. You've been loving that freestyle, Willie. Hey, you have. You've been sucking on that Missouri black snake.
It's still like psychedelic.
Did you know he's from Missouri? I just thought you should know that for the impact of the humor. I'm sorry, it's a duck. It's not a seal at all.
It's a seal, man.
I'm sorry, it's a duck. I'm afraid you don't know your marine life as well as you think when it comes to semi-amphibious vehicles. Just saying, your nomenclature is a little off.
I don't know anything about it.
They're all gone. Do you know when they come back, or do they just stay gone once they're gone?
Oh no, one of my buddies, his boat, he goes up there every year, but they're all gone.
All right. All right, man. Good enough. Thank you. Appreciate you. If you want to make a night of it, make a night of it. My enthusiasm for adventure is at such minimal. My budget for that kind of thing is also at a minimal, and it seems like a cool place to wander around and see who knows stuff. You know, who's there to marvel at. Play there. This is like Hawaii. The scope of the land is tremendous. Bizarre form of Dr. Seuss variety weeping willow. Dizzy when I drive. That's how I drive best. Oh, have thinking. I know that's right. Wildlife preserve what they have, and you know it to be a good thing there, where the animals roam kind of free. Is it all native stuff?
You're trying to phone me.
Both.
Okay, yeah, it's cool.
It wasn't like quite up to normal. It wasn't quite adding up. Something. I feel salty, stupid, and it feels good. I feel windswept and cool. I'm dizzy in the sunlight. That might have something to do with all the driving left behind me. There's you looking shot. There's a rail crossing. Kind of salty air, easy breezy, along with the sleep deprivation and the blur. Ooh, I haven't slept in a while, and that lady with the dog looks mighty attractive. Her arms are all fat and healthy. Mostly. I drink petrol. That's pretty cool. I drink petrol. Super hardcore. My hero can be Sandman. Who are you? I'm the guy who makes the deadly sand angels. All I need is a sidekick. Looking for Little Miss Pigtail Sass Booty. The last building is usually by the water, from what I recall. Skibidoo-papa. Big, even height, nebulous hills of, lush and dry overgrowth. But when I'm mapping out a composition, it should be completely balanced It should have, you know, a contrapposto kind of balance, like, you know, dark and light shades in the correct proportions at the right corners of the paper, and it should like hold a certain light structure to where it's going to, where the right things are going to be emphasized. You know, no overemphasis with block shading. You know, once it's black, it's black. Is the idea. You know, you don't have to like overshadow things. You know, you don't have to overshade.
You don't have
Like how a starfish is related to a sea cucumber, because they both have the 5-point radial symmetry. If you cut a sea cucumber in half, pretty gross thought for a man, if you cut a sea cucumber in half, you'll have a star, just like a starfish, and that's why they're both echinoderms. You know,
what is it? Mitochondria?
Echinoderms.
Echinoderms.
Yeah, it's a family in the well, it's a marine invertebrate family is what it is. Just like how all cephalopods are related to snails because they're all mollusks. They're in the mollusk family. You have octopi and squid and cuttlefish, all looking kind of similar because they have similar body structures, but they're all related to clams and scallops and you know, any kind of univalve, any kind of like moon snail or a Kong. Are we rolling? Test 1, 2. Are we rolling? We are rolling, in fact. Okay, well, echinoderms, yeah, there's nothing cooler than seeing a starfish scroll up the side of a aquarium, because they have hydro pump arms that actually pull out water from their tube feet when they want to pull forward. You know, their arms are always kind of facing forward, and they make a suction cup, essentially. You know, they create a vacuum, and the tube feet pull them forward, you know, pull them ahead. And it's the same thing that sea apples have. They have all those little tube feet on the side of their spherical shape, and it's the same thing that sea cucumbers have. They have like 5 rows, just like a starfish has 5 arms. The sea cucumber has 5 rows alongside the cylindrical shape, or rather phallic shape of the sea cucumber. Well, they're sea urchins, and their 5-point symmetry is a little bit harder to find. Their 5-point symmetry is hid within. One
rectal booster thing. Like what else characterizes?
I'm sorry, rectal booster. What do you mean?
Rectal booster.
Like a mouth anus. They have that. Yeah, they have a mouth anus.
The other thing that characterizes them besides the 5-point radial symmetry.
Oh, tube feet. They pretty much all have tube feet in some way or another. Like a sea urchin has spiky tube feet, or their tube feet are they have little arms that come out of their spikes, and they like pull you know, seashells on for covering, and they can move around the same way. They can, you know, move their tube feet, their spiked tube feet, their hard calcium spiked tube feet.
So what are the
cannabis leaves? They have the same 5-point. Those sand dollars have the same 5-point. I was giving these away like candy for a while. A bunch that I found in Morrill. They have the same. They have this like flower design, but it's like it's oblong down the top part, just like a cannabis leaf. It's a 5-point radial symmetry that's oblong in one direction. But in that you can see the relation to the starfish. Sometimes have a good balance between how they treat people in the back of the house, like thanking the cooks and all that, and being. Man, I used to catch myself with that when I was a waiter, like to not have a two-faced or a double standard about things, like to be like really nice to the customers because they're giving you money, because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds. That's some low thinking, low brow, borderline soulless shit. You know, hello, how's it going? We're a little touching French fry. Yeah, it's not even, it barely even qualifies as human. It doesn't.
Which one, the server or the
It doesn't strike me as aware.
server? No.
Yeah. Yep. Field typically are a bit more balanced. You know, they're not as like, they're not playing they're not playing the role of the moody waitress who you better not get in her way because she's trying to get maximum tips tonight. You know.
She's been through all the cycles, so that experience demonstrates.
Don't be too overbearing, you know, to not hustle people. You know, like, obviously, like, the table's gonna cue you if they're ready to pay the bill. You just have to keep a loose eye on it. You know, just like, you know, just sort of like, don't fucking blow on me, man. Come on. Just kind of keep safe.
Dude, I'm getting really cold.
You're cold? Okay.
Yeah, dude, like,
I can
I don't want to catch a cold.
And this is how they keep cows from crossing a road. Cows are like, no! We're raising Alaska or not. Should have shorts on a road trip. So, with the fabrication at hand, statistically, the story, you know, the idea of like a war on black people, you know, police officers versus black people, you know, with the harsh realities of the hood in consideration, statistically, you know, with the population of black Americans, the story was enough of a fabrication that it was sensationalized news. You know, it was sensationalized news. It was like, it basically, well, the whole war on black people, the idea behind Black Lives Matter and all that.
In newer recent years, the last couple of years, not anything like.
Yeah, I mean, certain events get highlighted so that we can proclaim fear, terror, distorted reality, you know, so that we can like try to pretend that there is a more chaotic element ahead than there actually is. That's the danger of sensationalism, and you know, with like that kind of fabrication. You know, statistically, it is a fabrication. For it to be called like a war on black people, that's a lie. I mean, if you look at statistically, you know, the violence that goes on in the hood versus like the amount of black people in the country, it was a minuscule, if not like needle in a haystack, amount of fatal shootings. You know, and I mean, those go on all the time, but for some reason, like a few were highlighted here and there, and like, you know, it was brought about to create some sense of fear, some sense of like social inadequacy, and we already know about all this. It's not, I mean, yeah, the idea of like social inadequacy is not a new idea. You know, it was brought about to like generate a sense of like social unrest, like, oh man, things have got to change, we got to make things better. Oh, I guess having a black president doesn't help. Oh, look at this thing that happened in Maryland, and now something in the, you know, and that stuff's going on all the time. I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, police escalations of force where, you know, innocents are taken out from time to time. I mean, it's not as bad as bombing entire towns that have rare diseases in Africa, and we've done that too. You know, twice. So, you know, these little, oh no, not a misguided youth in Oregon now. You know, all this stuff. It's like, I mean, we highlighted this stuff to like, you know, make our world seem more interesting. Bad news. Market-based economy. We live in a marketing economy. What's all advertising geared at? It's a substitution game. What you're lacking, what you need versus what you're lacking. People don't want to make things better unless they think they're bad. People typically don't want to try to work on a solution until it's close to too late. Yeah, well, if you have a lot invested, that's why Jesus said it is harder for a wealthy man to pass through the eye of the needle, and that's a gate where you have to unload your camel, than it is for a a wealthy person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Because, like, you know, when you're tied to all your stuff, and that's an interesting thing about the way I've been living, is like, you know, I basically have what I need with a little extra, you know, things that make me feel competent or capable, accomplished as an artist in various ways. You know, things for notation, things of memory. It's a cleaner way of living. Like I was saying, you know, well, I do need a more accommodating vehicle. That's one goal I have for certain. But you know, like when you get too settled, when you get too comfortable at a place, you find your mind kind of like going in circles, like stating unnecessary things or going through unnecessary tendencies. You know, find yourself walking to the kitchen for a glass of water when you didn't even want a glass of water. You just do that kind of thing because you're in a comfort-based reality. You're into over accommodating yourself when you get things too comfortable. You know? I mean, it's not good to have things too comfortable or too uncomfortable. Fucking hell, man, that was terrifying. He was sliding. Boy, that's the morning sun. Ain't nothing to be fucking up with, cause that's what will, yeah, exactly. That's what will bring out the LA morning traffic. That's what we're trying to get past.
Oh,
that
shit.
morning
What
sun.
time is it?
Well, it's getting close to 6 o'clock.
Little bit of alcohol actually curbs it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, keeps like yeah.
You know what gets me up in the morning?
What's that?
A little girl, about 5'2", double D's, cute small face with chubby lips.
All right, let's not talk about that.
Going down on me. That's what gets me up in the morning. Cock-a-doodle-doo. El Capitan is a natural monument in Yosemite. What is El Capitan Beach? Who was El Capitan? I assumed that only had one location for that name, but now I am proven incorrect. Who was this mysterious El Capitan? Was he the Jose Cuervo of his time? The most interesting man in California, perhaps? The Captain Morgan of sorts? Are you farting over there, or is that LA? That wasn't good. Sometimes kills of LA are cool. Sometimes driving right by them. Are those the famous Hollywood Hills I've heard so much about? Tour guide?
I'm not the best tour guide for you, but
Aww. Where's Gwen Stefani live again? History behind the naming of Riverside. You know what that is?
what?
It's a town right by a river.
Oh, Spanish.
The Oceanside, the town of Oceanside, is more inland because it happens to be right next to the ocean.
God, my wit is dull.
And the town of Carlsbad, well, I've never really known somebody who's a good person and also named Carl. Even if my friend's named Carl, I won't think of any of them as really good people.